Yeah, no worries.
Ugh. I know. I was like, man, that guy. Ugh. All right, welcome back, everyone. I have a special guest on. I got Harrison. He used to go by Trade Better 20, but now he goes by Trade Better 99, and maybe we can dig into that. But welcome, Harrison.
Thank you, Mark. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun, man. I've been waiting to do this. I mean, you were kind of hanging out in the lives and the comment sections and messaging and commenting, and you're always there, always supporting. So thanks for all of that. But yeah, I want to dig deeper into your story and your journey and what your portfolio looks like, and why why you want to do this financial freedom stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, very welcome. I love hanging out on your lives and everything. It was one of those situations where it's very friendly, very inviting, and I just found out, hey, I love hanging out here. And I was always the kind of internet lurker. I always liked kind of just listening, but not really participating on camera or anything. So this is a big jump for me. But yeah, I guess I got into looking into real estate from really just trying out stocks, trying out different modes of making funds. It started back in 2018. Found out that I had a very good gift for stock picking, mostly focusing on options trading. I was like, okay, I can do this. Uh, Pandemic happened, you know, stock portfolios went up. It was great. And then but my wife and I have been married 5 years. It was kind of that question of when are we going to buy a house? Why can't we find a house? We can never agree. And that's where it kind of turned into me actually doing a lot more research because I work in a research field. That's where I'm in my element. I find weird situations. Why are things not working the way they are? I always kind of dig into that. And yeah, fast forwarding to 2022, we were on the verge. We just moved to Oregon. We were saying, let's buy a house. We're here. And the numbers never made sense. It was one of those situations. And following, I actually just discovered Simon, the Uneducated Economist, along with another, I don't want to name him. He's a doomer though. And trying to say, oh yeah, let's time it out so we can buy the house here. And
So
somehow,
where did you move from to Oregon?
oh yeah, so I moved from Virginia.
Okay.
I've lived up in the Northeast and then down in Virginia, moved all over the state just for work and school and everything. And so it's a very different world, all different places. So you kind of get the feelings of a different parts of the country all in one state. It's very fun. But yeah, my wife got the job of an opportunity all the way out in Oregon, and we were trying to buy a house. It's like, hey, let's set up roots West Coast. This is great. And but numbers made sense, never made sense. And lo and behold, someone was kind of disagreeing with the doomer, Michael Zuber, and I bought in hook, line, and sinker. Just I hate to say it, I think I probably went a few hundred hour into his videos. So, but
So you're saying
yeah,
the numbers didn't make sense. So you were looking for just a home to buy, right?
yeah, I was looking for a home to buy, but it's one of those you never want. I was always told, don't be the most expensive house in the neighborhood. Everything was just, oh, we have a record price, the next record price. And for us, we were renting a house and then looking at the payments. I mean, yeah, it was just for me, it was trying to make sense of, okay, well, if we got I know a 3% mortgage at the time, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm still paying $700,000 for a 1,000 square foot house. I'm not doing it. And but I mean, at the same time, I didn't really have the math or understanding of how to find a house then. And that's why I went to Zuber's class and everything and kind of changed everything of how I was looking at it.
But that's
Yeah.
still, I mean, to me, it's like a lot of people just, you weren't really looking at it as an investment property, right? And you're just looking to buy a home for your family. And
Yeah.
I think that's the struggle that I see as
Oh
being
yeah.
inside, right? A lot of people, they're not thinking of it the way you are, like if it makes sense, the payment wise, what you're renting at. They're just looking at, like you say,
Yeah.
I want the biggest home, I want the nicest home. And that's so it's kind of amazing that without even really, like you're saying, you didn't really dig
Yeah,
into real estate at that time,
no.
but you were looking at it from a numbers standpoint. So
Yeah, it was just because I always was told that if you have to move, if you have to leave, be sure you can sell the house. And it's like if you're the most expensive house or if you put the most amount of work into the house and I mean, yeah, it's beautiful, it's fancy, but if it's going to sit on the market for 90 days it's not worth it. And so I always had that kind of, I want to say like gut feel towards things. So it was just, yeah, I just didn't really want to go all in on something that I knew I probably couldn't sell at that price in the future.
so how long were you folks in Oregon? And so you just rented the entire time you were there?
Yeah, we rented the entire time. We were there for about 3 years. But a year and a half into it, once again, it was one of those stocks are doing great. I was doing great, but somehow, midway through, 2022, found out that I was diagnosed with cancer. And before then, I was feeling off and everything. And then we waited almost 5 months before I even knew what I was diagnosed with. And it was one of those things you go through a whole bunch of emotions. I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, sweetheart, this is what I do. This is my trading. You can retire on this. She's like, I love you, dear, but I don't know what you're talking about. This makes no sense. I don't care. And then, yeah. And once again, yeah, it kind of delved back into Zuber. I was like, oh, well, she'll know real estate. And like, because she's been looking at houses with me and everything. Her parents know real estate. My parents know real estate. It's like, okay, well, we could do this. How about that? And she's like, okay. I mean, I'm not going to rent out or anything, but at least, I could, because I didn't know what my diagnosis was. I was like, I'll give you a house if I don't make it beyond. It's kind of like John Wick and the puppy kind of thing. It's like, this is beyond the grave.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've never heard anyone really come at it from that standpoint. Like, like you're saying what you're gonna leave. You had stocks and you're like, you can do this. And your wife's
yeah,
like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
no,
And that's how you pivoted to looking at a different asset class from what
yeah,
you felt, she could flourish in or take over or run with it if something did happen to you. So
yeah.
okay. So where did that how long or you moved you relocated after Oregon or
Yeah, so we relocated back to Virginia because once I got healthy enough after, going being cured, family was like, you've had your fun, good enough. And then also the housing prices made sense in Virginia. So I was like, okay, well, we could buy our first one. And then I was really thinking about, well, we could potentially, now we were talking about rentals. It was like after going through the courses, listening to Lumberjack, Dion, April Crosley, like I mean, that was the thing I was doing. I was either working or I was just neat, like so much research into videos while going through chemo and everything. So it was really wild, but it just kept my brain going, thinking. And I was like, okay, now it's like I understand what numbers mean. Like what we were talking about. It's like I had no idea what the numbers meant, but it was just at least now we can make this work. And we were able to buy our first place a little over a year ago in Virginia, and then came back and once again, it's Virginia. My specific market in Richmond is more appreciating. So you're not, the rent's never always going to make sense, but at least you have that upward trajectory. And we still got it under market price, which was fantastic for a move-in ready house.
so you
And
are house hacking or
uh we are, no, not yet, but we are going to in the
okay.
next year or so. So we're going to do some updates and stuff like that. And then yeah, led into a few months later, I was like, okay, let me find the next place. Didn't work in Virginia. Prices went too high. I had a friend who was a fellow stock trader. He actually invests in Akron, Ohio. And he told me it's the Midwest, yes, but numbers look fantastic. I mean, he went into the 1% rule. It's like, okay, cool. But me being me, I was like, well, let's look even more at here because there are times that, I mean, I can tell you stories about why I didn't buy houses in Oregon, but just because of one town, uh, there was a town that where they had a witch burned, and before she was burned, she promised that the city will burn 3 times. The so it's just like, okay, and so what's the catch? Well, the city's already burned down twice. So
So you're gonna buy
um
after the third
so
time
I'm gonna
then.
buy after the third time. But let's go. But
Wait,
anyway,
but how did you how did that even come up? Like how did you
I
even
mean,
hear?
it's one of those things is that in Oregon, there's a lot of small towns, and you hear kind of the local folklore. I mean, the town that I lived in was very well known for alien activity or Bigfoot sightings, and it was one of those things that never scared me. I'm not really either way about that, but it was just it attracts certain people, clientele that are interested in it. I mean, so it's great for tourism and everything, but also it's one of those you don't always have a solid market for help. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, so sorry, Pat, with that tangent. But going towards Akron, uh, I learned that it's yes, just under 200,000 people, population going down, but it's the rubber capital of the world. It has Goodyear as its main headquarters. Along with that, and this is what I do for other research. I kind of do what Coach Carson says, a liberal arts point of view is saying, well, what do the other people do? What's everything else going on? And they're also the county, Summit County, has one of the richest deposits of shale for making high-end plastics, rubbers. I mean, so there's always going to be jobs, always going to be need there. And it was just kind of all blew me away. And the house is there. You can get a decent house, and I ended up getting a duplex for just under 150,000 and moving ready. And I mean, cash flows day one came with tenants, and it was kind of a I don't want to say a walk in, but it was kind of that base hit that a lot of people really look for. And
Self-managed property management?
so I did self managing for a little bit. That was I realized I can't do this because it was more of the 3 a.m.s like, hey, you know, the HVAC's out or the heating's out and it's 40 degrees out here and trying to because I have some really good contacts there that were able to help me, but not having someone there to go right away. That's where it kind of got a little bit stressful for me. And because being a landlord it's a people business. It's a service. And I felt like I was not giving the best service at a time. I found a decent PM and they're they're doing a good job. So at least I have that peace of mind for, any emergency that's happening. And that's the reason why I'm doing it for now anyway.
So I kind of want to, touch on, so your wife, is
Yeah.
she kind of heavily involved, or she's kind of just, kind of watching what you're doing,
Yeah.
or is she really kind of all in it like you?
It was really interesting because I would say she was the loving antagonist. She was the one that would say, "This is a bad idea. We should just save our money, put it, in the bank, or, forget about it. Work as hard as you can, maybe buy some mutual funds." But the more I was talking to her about it, because I was laying it out, because she just didn't know. And I wouldn't say that she loves it, but she understands. And that was kind of just having that open communication. I mean, yeah, we've had a few bills fixing up the rental house, and that doesn't go well. It's one of those
Yeah.
things. But
I,
but I mean, yeah,
no, I think because I see in a lot of the lives and like Zuber's lives and the school community, and I notice a lot of times a lot of your questions are about that. How do you get your spouse on board, or
yep.
kind of relationship? So is it always a work in progress for you folks trying to get her kind of?
It's always going to be a work in progress because it's one of those where, I mean, I'll be honest, she's smarter with me. She knows numbers better than I ever will. But it's one of those that she's also very conservative. So it's if something goes bad, it's kind of like, okay, bye. Like, let's dump this right away. Where I'm more of the let's ride the wave. Let's see how this goes. And I mean, so far things have been going well. But I mean, it's always be yeah, whenever I ask, it's like, how can I be more reassuring here? It's like, okay, we have the numbers here. You can see that the cash flow is okay. I mean, but it's kind of saying 5 years from now, I have no idea, but it's things are looking well. And I mean, I research the markets, look for what can happen. But yeah, I mean, for her especially, it's just open communication. Just kind of say, this is why I feel this way. It's kind of you're almost making a case every single time. But at the same time, it's actually made me have to come with better, I don't want to say arguments, but better cases of why it's like, okay, this is the reason why I like this. So if anything, it's sharpening iron here. I'm not going head first saying, this is a great idea. Let's go with it. I love it. She's like, but why?
Yeah,
So
no, I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
even like Dion talks about it, right? Having doing the lives and
Hmm.
things like that, you kind of have to be able to see what's on top of mind or what you're
Hmm.
prepared to answer. And I think that goes back to your point of, you're not trying to really convince her, but you're
Hmm.
just trying to make yourself better to either present why it makes sense or whatnot. And that's funny though that you have to um practice in a way to present it to
Yeah.
her on why it's beneficial. So what
Hmm.
would you have to say, I guess, like compared stocks to real estate now that you kind of been in both?
So now that I've done it, it's hard to go back to stocks. It's been weird to say it like that because I've done like with stocks, I always, research the company, find the financials and everything. Doesn't always mean that it's going to go up. Right now, it's kind of a hopium market, and you got to realize that, well, that research just went out the window. So with real estate anyway, I mean, nothing's ever perfect. It's never going to work out, but at least it's a lot more tangible. And that's something I never realized. And I mean, I still play with stocks. There's still things that I invest in, but I would never say I would ever go as heavy as I did. So,
Which one do you enjoy more though?
ooh, I, all right. If you asked me last year, I would have said stocks still. But actually, now that I have the first rental, I'm like, oh, this is fun.
Ah,
Because there's even so much more that I have to read about, watch videos, and yeah, and that's why I'm really trying to get out on social media now is that I want to talk to people. I want to see what their thoughts are on markets and everything because it's like there's this whole new world that's always been in front of me, but I never realized that kind of take the jump.
yeah. And I don't know. I think it seems like a lot of people, that question comes up, and it seems
Mhm.
like a lot of people are like, they don't love real estate. Like they don't
Yeah.
enjoy it, right? And but it's they see it as a path. And
Hmm.
like even myself, I think I talked about it on a few lives. Like
Yeah.
I don't like enjoy real estate, but I like the like you're saying the other parts of it. And I think
Yeah.
it's more of a people business and communicating and just meeting other people, and that's what I enjoy about it. That's the fun part to me. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, that 100% because I would say that I actually enjoy the real estate more than sometimes talking to people because I'm a natural introvert. But it's one of those
No.
things, yeah. But I love it. It's one of those that it's definitely brought me out of my shell as well because I'm reading about, okay, well, what kind of decks am I looking at? Trex versus regular wood, or if I'm looking at different bolts or block. I mean, just I got lumberjacks course and I just was like, oh, there's a lot of things. I mean, hard part is that I'm not going to drive to Ohio all the just to fix up the house, but at least I can have conversations with maintenance people now saying, oh no, 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 you don't need to do that. And so,
That's
but
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's one of those that it was the unexpected love that I'm really building in for it. It's weird. I'm still very new into it. I mean, 5 years from now, I can be like, I'm done, never again. But as of now, there's a lot more to this that I never realized within real estate. I mean, just even looking at the local markets, you're just saying, oh, yeah. I mean, I looked at bus lanes saying, okay, well, can this person walk to the bus lane? Can that person, if depending on what kind of job or how is parking going? Because that's always the one thing that tenants always ask about. It's like, how am I going to park here?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I touched on a lot. I think those
Hmm.
that was the biggest thing I kind of overlooked quite a bit was the parking. And I got caught up in, oh yeah, the pictures look nice and the
Oh yeah.
property looks nice. And but and I, I blame myself a little bit, but definitely feel like, I wish the agent was more like, he's great, he works super
Hmm.
hard and he's awesome, but at the same time, it was kind of like he told me things that I wanted to hear, right? And
Yeah.
he wasn't telling me like, oh no, for this reason, and so I do have another agent that I am working with also, and
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, it's a great, house is fine, but it's like you literally have to back out of the street to get out, right? You can't, there's no place to turn
Oh
around.
man. Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, it's gonna, you'll be fine. It's just you're probably gonna have a high turnover, right?
Right.
People are gonna be like tired after a while, like, oh man, I gotta, unless they work from home and they don't ever go anywhere, then
Oh
they'll
yeah.
be fine. But yeah, so yeah, it's funny. I mean, and then you just keep learning as you're going, right? So I'm sure in your journey so far, so would you say from the beginning when you started to now,
Mm.
like what has changed the most for you? Like, do you have visions of getting like 100 properties, or what would be your mindset, you think?
Mm. Not 100, but I could definitely see myself. It's like, ooh, if I could get capital, I could see myself 30, 40 properties. And I mean, it's one of those that, and then also helping people find their properties as well. I was like, oh, it's like that could be a service or something like that as well. Um, but I mean, probably in the grand scheme of things, realistically, maybe 16 to 20, but at least, my stretch 30. I think that'd be actually really interesting to do.
And so so I'm assuming you just did traditional financing for,
Yeah, for the first one.
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that was because since I was investing out of state, I was actually looking at Velocity, for the, yeah, 50 40 10 with Stephen Dow. But the catch is that for your first rental
Yeah.
in that state, you
Yeah.
have to have the traditional. So I'm calling this my stepping stone. And then it's like, okay, now I can use this for the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But it's same thing, right? We're constantly learning, and
yeah.
like you're saying, that's also why it's good to be talking to other people, because I mean the lenders, they do have a lot of the same products, but at the same time, they
Mhm.
all have a little bit of nuances to each one, and
Right.
it's good to, stay connected and just see what new things they might have. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess the other thing I want to touch on is Trade Better 20. So that was your original name on social
Yeah.
media and the, the chats and the YouTube. So what
Mhm.
is that all about, and what was for the change?
Sure. Trade Better 20 was my first kind of screen name I was looking at because I was really doing really well in stocks at the time. And then, but I was kind of struggling on my W-2 because I wasn't full time yet. And I was saying, oh man, and it's of course right in the middle of the pandemic and everything. So it's like, I'm not sure if I'm getting let go. So I might need to find a new trade. And then it's like, oh yeah, trade better. And then, so I was like, trade better. What year is it? 2020. Like, so it's kind of like that stamp of saying, this is where I'm going to find myself to be better in all trades possible. So that's what happened there. And then Trade Better 99 was actually a little bit of help from you. It was
Help or
um
making fun of, or I mean,
no, it was great because it actually was kind of it was, yeah, I guess having a little humble pie because with Zuber on his school, he said first 100, first 100. I was like, okay, I'm going to be 100. I am going to be 100. And then I saw after his last, or one of the daily financial news is was like, we're at 98. I was like, okay, I think if I time it just right, I'll be 100. And then it's like 99.
yeah.
Done. No, it's like, so it's just, and of course, that was my first comment into this was like, I got 99. It's like, and then it was just kind of like, well, you know what? It's kind of humbling because you're not going to be perfect every time. So I just, it's up for a change, and 99 is great, and you don't always need 100.
I think it actually has a better ring, 99, than 100.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the logo you have now, it looks pretty cool. So I think it worked out. I mean, I think it definitely,
Yeah.
it worked out, and it's funny. But yeah, the school community is great. Everyone's connecting.
Mhm.
Even we had April Crossley on this morning, and we
Yeah.
made you made her cry. Not we, I say you.
Yeah.
Your question,
Unfortunately.
yeah, your question hit a nerve in a good way though, and I think
Yeah.
that's a great kind of question to put back on you to see,
Right.
you were kind of asking her about, all the hustle and what she did, and I don't know if it was regrets actually, but it's kind of how she dealt with the family and
Hmm.
looking back on it. So, does that have any effect on what you're trying to do and the visions you have?
Yeah, that's been always at the back of my mind because especially with, I mean, I know how to hustle. I could dig my head in and just go, but it's one of those where I'm very happily married and I just don't want to lose that. I see what I have now. I see what I have for the future, and I want to, if I have to just walk, I mean, and not make it to the sprint line. I know one of Zuber's videos today was about crunch it from 10 to 7. I mean, I'll do 10 if it means that for peace of mind. And it was kind of the same thing with one of his videos talking about Warren Buffett. I mean, would you, sacrifice 1 year of your life so that you can eat whatever you want? And me going through the cancer, it was like, well, I'll take the extra year because you don't realize what you have until it's gone. And so that's where I was coming from, because it's one of those things is that I want to enjoy the journey, but I also want to make sure that I get to celebrate it with those that I'm with. That's really my ultimate goal.
Yeah, I think that's the struggle for a lot of us that are trying to do this, is
Hmm.
finding that balance. And sometimes we do get caught up in trying to hustle a little too much,
Yeah.
and but like for yourself, like you're saying, beating cancer, I think it even puts even more perspective on how, valuable the time is and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love it. I love what you're doing, and sounds like you're going to be coming out with more social media content. And is it going to be focused on real estate, or what is it going to be focused on, you think?
I think I'm going to focus on real estate. I mean, a lot of research just in markets in general. I don't know if I'm going to hyper localize in Akron because right now there's nothing really about Akron that's not more than 3 years old. So it's like, okay, well, I'm an out-of-state investor. Let's talk about this spot here and talk about favorite places to eat, favorite places to, what's fun to do here. I mean,
Have you been
it's
there yet?
one I've been there. I was there a while ago. I
Okay.
have family all over Ohio. Actually, yeah, my grandfather's from Cleveland. So it's one of those things where it was never outside of my mind. And that's why what also made Ohio a lot more attractive to me, along with the amount of investment going into it. So it's just, I feel like in the next 5, 10 years, it's going to grow a lot faster than what people are thinking. And so I think, being maybe, I don't want to say guide, but a reference for that. And
So
so I
so
think
you're going to
that's, yeah,
stay
I
in
mean,
Akron investing, or are you going to look in Richmond also, or?
yeah. So, I mean, that's another thing is that when I was going through my process, I think I've gone through 12 different markets. And so it's one of those things where all the way from Oregon, Vegas, different parts of Texas, and I, yeah, but I'm looking at Akron. I'm looking at Richmond as well. There's a few other places that are also within Virginia that are interesting. Actually, someone that you just interviewed, Chris, Invest LYH. Yeah, I'm going to talk to him, talk about the Lynchburg area as well. So,
Oh yeah, you guys are
yeah,
gonna be talking about some data probably.
probably.
Chris is a smart dude, man. I'm
Oh,
trying
he's
to
a
get him
smart
on
dude.
some live. Yeah,
Yeah.
he likes to fight with people too, though. On X, he likes to make trouble over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's like whenever I message him, I'm doing it on Facebook. I'm like, hey man, what do you think about this? Because I'm not sure. He's like, let me be, analytical about this. Like, good, let's do this. So he's really smart, and I'm like, okay, at least I'm not crazy, or maybe we're both crazy, but it's just one of those that, yeah. So
Oh
no, it's
man, yeah.
fun.
I'm glad you reached out.
Yeah,
I'm glad we got to do this. I think that
yeah.
it's gonna be awesome, your channel, once you start it. Yeah, especially if you can do stuff like you're saying, restaurants and places to eat, and be a little more hands on. I mean, that's kind of what I wish I could do more of, is walk my properties in Pittsburgh and do
Oh
some stuff
yeah.
there. So Mikey keeps wanting to. He's like, "Let's go, man!" And I'm like, "All
Okay.
right, we'll figure it out." But
Oh, if you go to Pittsburgh, I will make the drive there. It's like 5, 6 hour drive for me. So I will definitely go up and meet
oh
you guys
yeah,
there. So
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
fun, man. Oh wait, but did you go to Vegas? You weren't in Vegas,
No,
right?
I didn't go to Vegas. Yeah. So yeah, I was yeah, just finishing up chemo then. So I was like, bummer, but it's all good.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
no, no, I'm sorry. No, yeah, but we'll be there.
yeah,
And
there,
yeah,
Crocs. You're one of the Crocs supporters, so
yep, right here.
see,
So my house shoes. So
see, people, they
yeah,
don't get it. People don't
they
understand it.
don't they don't get it until they give them their first pair,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden they're gonna be hooked. I have a younger brother. He was the same way, made fun of me. Now he has his own pairs. So it's just,
yeah.
yeah,
All right. Well, like I said, man, we'll do something in Vegas. The Crocs
yeah,
on the Strip, Smash or Pass, and thanks for doing this. Thanks for always hopping in the lives and commenting. And at least none of us cried on my live yet, or you didn't
that's
make anybody
good.
cry there. But
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll get you on some lives too, man. It'll be awesome, man.
this is a great time. Thank you so much for
All right,
having me,
man.
Mark. This is
Thanks for
a
doing
really
this, man.
cool time.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Night.